Hey guys, I just wanted to quickly update you on some stuff that's been happening lately. I had the coolest thing I've ever seen. I had this guy come in who had like, it almost looked like a lens over one of his eyes, and he had this like metal aperture kind of thing. And when he came in, and also he had a blue light. So when he came in, he kind of like, I guess he had a conversation with the guardians that were in there, and they decided to do a visit. It's really cool. A couple of times I have seen an Andromedan, I think, in one of the visits. Beautiful. Oh my goodness, I'd love to see a closer image of him, but I can't. So here we are. Also, I'm having some really heartbreaking times over my little sillies. There's one that I've told you guys I nicknamed him Sam. He is amazing. Little Sam is so sick. He's really been hurt very, very bad. And it seems like almost a touch and go kind of thing. But do you know what? When it's time for them to come out face off, these nasty ones, the jerks, little Sam will get out there, and I beg him to stay. I'm like, please just stay in the rest chamber, get some rest, get healed. He is determined. He's going to do his job. It's amazing to see. The amount of fortitude that he has. Oh God, it's killing me. Also, the one that I call, well, there's another one that puts on a dog mask. I've seen their masks. It's really cool, but you can see they put on these masks. So he put on the dog mask, and I call him Scooby-Doo. And he's been injured also, but he doesn't seem to be as bad as Sam is. So any prayers, sending light. Also, one of the human-looking guardians. I want to tell you about the guardians too. I know that there are at least 3 different kinds that are helping us. One is the cloud guardian type, and those are the ones that they will make themselves look like a dog or a cat or a big fluffy something. They're adorable. They're kind. The one that I call Towel, he also is one of the cloud type guardians. Then there are what I would call human looking guardians in that same group, because there are at least 2 Nordics I've seen. Big, beautiful guys, curly hair. You can tell they have curly hair, and they're a little denser than the next version. The next version are very human looking, but beautiful. Just these people are just gorgeous. If they told me that they were the angels from the Bible, I would say, yep, I get it. They are beautiful and very kind. Oh my goodness. I have seen some amazing kindness coming from them, but they are very human looking also. I'm not sure what's happening with this light in here. Does it every once in a while. So, and I think that, like I said, that they're a separate group. And last night, I've been spending about 3.5 hours every couple of days, every day. I don't even know. I've lost track. Just playing like really that Healing Hurts music from YouTube. I've been playing that for them. I've been going in and trying my best to meditate and bring back light with me. Praying, the whole 9 yards. I've tried everything because little Sam worries me because he won't stop working long enough to get himself well, and it really bothers me. So yesterday, and every time I close my eyes and open up my third eye, boom, the bad guys come, like I'd say within a minute to 5 minutes. I'll call them the jerks. The jerks show up. And so then my little crew has to disperse of them before they can even come hang out with me. Very annoying. I mean, really, very annoying. So, yesterday at around, I think it's around 4, I spent a little bit of time, I was getting ready to really spend some more time with them. And along comes the punks again. And the problem that I'm having right now is that my whole room looks like a fog. Like when you walk in, there's a misty fog, not in real life, but once you close your eyes and you got that third eye going, it is. And if I turn the light off, because these different groups of people are luminescent a little bit, you know, like the guys I said I wouldn't be surprised if they were angels. They're like outlined in like a white gold. It's beautiful. The cloud guardians, to me it seems like they're about the density of, I'd say, of what people call a ghost, maybe a little bit more. But the ones that are outlined, their density is a lot lower. So I can see them at night, and I can see the black because the black is so much darker than my room. So the black shadows are darker. So the problem I'm running into, though, is that when I open up my third eye, close my eyes, I can see them. I see the whole scene, but there's a fog in the room. So the black entities, I can't tell for sure that they are these jerks, or there is a group of a newish kind of group. There's one guy that I think of as the supervisor. I give him little nicknames in my head because he seems to be like the one in charge of stuff sometimes. He seems very nice. Now he started coming in with a group of guys dressed in black that hold hands, and it's like they're making a circle around me and the others that are in the room. Well, when they break the circle, these guys are all dressed in black. So I'm like, how do I tell you from the jerks? So I just had enough yesterday. I mean, my fuse had gotten so short because, you know, just them being so sick, and then they are so nice. I mean, you guys, you just don't know how nice they are, how unbelievably kind they are. What they do is when they get these kiss guys or big uglies, they will just, I mean, very nicely like shove them out, or sometimes they have to swallow them. And then they do eventually swallow the little sillies, I think, to keep them kind of out of the way and keep them safe. So, but they never hurt them. They're never aggressive with them. They're never mean to them. I mean, not at all. And it's just so hard to watch, you know, when somebody who's so very kind is getting hurt by somebody who's so very not kind. And so yesterday they grabbed, there's a guardian who has the chamber where they rest. I call it the resting chamber through the eye. It's really cool. They show me this stuff. They grabbed that one, and one of the angels, and I don't remember now if it was one of the cloud looking guys or if it was one of the more outlined guys, but they grabbed them and drug them into the corner of the room. So I can't see these. All I see are these black shadows. I don't know if they're part of the supervisor's group or if they are the jerks, but they have them pinned in the corner, and I'm trying my best to see them to figure out, but everything's, like I said, it's like a fog in there. I think it's because there's so many of the guardians and such. So finally I just start staring them down. I'm like, I know that I don't want to like try to send them to the abyss because I don't know. It could be one of the good guys, you know, they're supporting them or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I can't see them. So I thought, well, I'm just going to let them see my ugly redhead's eye. So I just literally pointed at him. Gave him the big old stare down. My dog loves that. So, I see you, Jasper. So I did. I just gave him the big old stare down. And that got rid of 2 of them. And then, like everything I do, I have no idea what the heck, is going on big picture wise. I'm everything by instinct. So whatever instinct I have to do something, I do it. So for some reason, I just started. You know how you tell your kids 3 and you're done? By the 4th one, he left. He ran off by the 4th. Now, I don't know. Could have been something behind me that, that he saw that it made him leave. But it worked. So then I tried it again on a couple other ones, and it worked. It was like after the 4th one, it worked. It cleared. It was a trip. I'm like leaning over here because I'm seeing all kinds of stuff. I have the camera's picking it up. So then when I went to bed, it was just as many of these jerks in there as earlier, if not more. And it's just, for me, it's just really, really disheartening, and it's stressful, because I'm worried about them. And then I see them being so nice, and I want to clock one and send it to the abyss. But I can't even touch it, because they're in a different dimension. It'd be like hitting a ghost, it will do nothing. So, like I said, it just really bothers me. But I was laying in bed last night, and now it's getting ready to start. And I'm getting ready to get up because I'm like, I just hope there's no good guys in the way, because I'm going after them. I done had it by that point. And so as I'm getting ready to sit up in bed, all of a sudden, on my periphery, I see all these like not dark gray, probably like a light gray color shadows fly in fast. It was so fast. I couldn't even like track them. As I was tracking, one jumped up out of the bed. And you guys, it was beautiful. He jumps up and, look, I'm gonna knock everything off, swings his left arm at one of the shadow beings, one of the bad guys, right? And the force flung him. And I mean, he kind of like, how like if somebody gets hit hard with something, even if it's on the side, you bend, you crush, right? And that's what the shadow god did. I'm like, yes, finally, somebody who is going to give it to them the same way they're dishing it out, So these guys, whoever they were, I never really got to see them. But literally within like 2 to 3 seconds, the whole room is clear. What a relief. Oh my goodness, what a relief. Because like I said, my guys are just so kind to them that it's not reciprocated, and I get that they're trying to take a higher moral ground, but the way I look at it is that we have the absolute right to defend ourselves no matter what. If somebody comes at you, you have the right to defend yourself. And if that means that you're countering that person with aggression that they're coming at you with, I don't know, in my book, that's okay. But then again, I took Ryukyu Kempo karate for a long time too. But that's the way I feel about it. I feel like we have a right to protect ourselves. When I'm in the mountains, I have an air horn, I have a big can of bear spray, and I have my big boom boom that will take down a bear. Because you have the right to defend yourself if somebody's trying to hurt you. Now, I have not ever had to even think about getting to that boom boom level, because everything else, ahead of time is what I would use. I would save it for, really something really bad. But you have a right to defend yourself. And they are being so kind and gentle with these beings that I think that's why these beings are just like going at them so hard and hurting them. So it's making me mad. It's really really getting to me because I'm just ready to like send them all to the abyss, you know, because I want you guys to remember too. I know all of this has been, as a Christian, this has been, oh, it's been so hard. I mean, you guys, it really has. It's been very, very hard to think that, you know, the things that we learned in the Bible were skewed in a way that were done so that we wouldn't know the truth. And, you know, our ancestors, maybe they thought they were protecting us, that they needed to protect us. But, you know, I remember reading certain passages in the Bible and thinking, it sounds like reincarnation to me. I mean, Jesus had the chance to correct them, but he didn't. And I really and truly do believe that Jesus, if you are a Christian, Jesus did give us the right to exorcise demons, to take them out of people and to send them to the abyss. He gave us the authority to do that. So I know some people are just so fearful in that kind of situation that maybe they wouldn't be able to do it. I don't know. But I think that if you know if you're a fight or a flight, I think that would be a big help. Because if you've ever been in one of those situations and you know that you're going to run, then you know what? You might want to do everything you can to stay away from them. You know, but if you know that you're the kind of person who fights, I do from personal experience. I had a guy come after me. He was a murderer. It's a long story. I lived through it. But I turned, balled up my fists, stomped my feet, and screamed like this, I mean, deep, guttural, crazy person. I'm coming at you. I don't give a... If you are... He was like probably 6'8", I think 6'6", 6'8", something like that. He was huge. But yeah, I was going after him. So I know what my tendencies are. And I know that in that kind of situation, I flip to action. I'm not a wilting flower. I don't run. I don't collapse. I'm all about action. So if there's ever a zombie apocalypse, you come find me. So, yeah, so that the guys that were there last night, oh my gosh. I mean, like 2 or 3 seconds, everybody was gone. So, I prayed today and I talked to Jesus in my prayers. I do like a meditative prayer kind of thing. I don't just, when I'm in there, I just kind of talk, you know, out loud because, you know, I have some private thoughts. So I meditate, I go up and I talk to Jesus. And so I, you know, asked him if we could maybe get a visit from at least 1 or 2 of those guys. Because, I mean, I was calling him Captain America because, I mean, the force that he used to fling that guy, it's exactly what they need. Because if they keep coming here and they're not getting hurt, they're not getting sent to the abyss, they're not getting any kind of repercussions for their actions, they're going to keep on doing it. So I'm hoping that that changes, or your girl's going to break bad and I'm going to go in there and I'm going to hope and pray there aren't any good guys that are in there dressed in black, because I'm going to take them all out. I've gotten to a point where my patience is done. I mean, to see that little Sam, I mean, you guys, you would be floored. And I guess that they can't pick him up. That's what I'm thinking, is that they must be kind of stuck here even though they're injured. And this little guy, I mean, when they come in, begging him, please don't let him out. Please keep him in the chamber, you know, because I care about his safety. I will look out and he will take off flying in a costume at these demon things. Sorry about my son in the background. He will take off flying after them, right? And like within a minute, he's collapsed. I mean, completely collapsed from the strain because he's so sick, but he just won't stop working. It's like he came here for a job and he's going to do it. And oh my goodness, it's just so touching, you know? It's just so incredibly touching that he's that determined. My gosh, do you see that energy behind me? Okay, so another thing I want to tell you too, this was kind of for funsies. I hope I can get it out to you pretty soon. But I went outside and I was going to take a selfie with my buddies. I tried the Night Eyes app, which, I mean, for me, you know, I've been looking at these things anywhere from what, 8 to 14 hours a day for a year and a half. So, you know, I spot them so easy. But for folks who are new, it's very difficult. So I thought what I would do is just give you the original. Okay, sorry about that. My son was yelling. So I've given him a 15-minute break to calm down. So hopefully we've got a couple more minutes left to get through this. So I took some photos with this Night Eyes app. It turns everything green. Oh my goodness, you can really see stuff with it. So I figured what I would do is just put the photo of me and then the edited photo. And then I have one of those pencils, you know, for your iPad. And not a fancy one, it's a cheap one, but it really works good for 25 bucks. So I figured what I'll do is I'll just kind of color some of them in, but you can really see the vortex energy that's going on. And Dave Paulides, his last review of the Skinwalker Ranch episode, I think it was the episode number 2, he talks about the vortex being on the property. And remember earlier that I told you about that guy that said that all of the factories had a vortex placed there in exchange for some tech. And that is actually starting to line up with some other things that I've found. So it might actually be kind of accurate. So so it's always that vortex energy. You know, it looks like stuff is flying at you. And oftentimes I'll get this, you know, I can't see anything. I can't see them. And, you know, I feel bad for those people because I do understand that it is very difficult. If you have never seen these things before, it is very difficult to see them. Some of the pointers is use the highest resolution that you have. Whatever device you have with the best resolution, because I do most of my editing on my iPad, and it really and truly looks different. If I edit on my iPad and then I watch on my iPhone, it looks very different. But if I edit on my iPhone and watch on my iPad, I'm like, wow, there's so many things that I missed. There's so much really cool stuff here. Because my iPad is an 8th generation and it has a better resolution than my screen on my phone does. Because I have an iPhone SE 2020. So, you know, it's a couple years old. It's not that fancy, but it does the job. So also, you know, you'll hear people saying stuff about like, why are they blurry? Why are all the pictures blurry? It's just because they don't know. They don't understand what is happening. So they don't understand why every picture everywhere, I'll say most every picture everywhere is going to be blurry. If it's not blurry, that's when you really need to pay attention because it may very well be a fake. Because what happens is everything has energy. Everything vibrates. Our energy vibrates. A rock has energy that vibrates. We don't see it though. But these beings who are in this different density, they vibrate much faster than we do. Sometimes when I see them, it's like strobe lights. And I'm always a little concerned because strobe lights always kind of like give me a migraine. I don't do well with strobe lights. So, but that's what I see in my room sometimes are strobe lights. So their energy is going super, super, super fast. So what happens is when we take a photo of them with that energy, our apertures on our cameras are not fast enough to catch it. So it's a bit like taking a picture of a speeding car with a Polaroid camera. You get the blur. It's the same thing with these beings. Once in a while, you might get a pretty clear picture. treasure those because they're very, very few and far between. And it takes a while for you to be able to start seeing these things. The first couple of times I looked at my photos, I just glanced through them really, really quick. I never really looked closely at any of my footage from the mountain, and I missed so much stuff. So then the first thing that brought me to it was seeing the Sabe, the little Sabe, sitting beside my truck like he was guarding my truck. That was the first time I saw it. When I zoomed in and saw it was him, then I started looking closer, frame to frame, and I saw some guy manifest into our world on the mountain. He came through a portal. I guess I couldn't see the portal in my film. I hadn't filmed that, I don't guess. But he just all of a sudden appeared and started walking. And there were all these different entities everywhere. It looked like Lord of the Rings. It really did. It looked just like something that Tolkien would describe. I mean, it was crazy. So, but I kept going over and over and over that footage because I noticed that every time that I did, something became a little bit clearer. I could figure something out just a little bit better, and I could watch the movement. So that's really important too. If you take, your own footage, just make sure that you watch for the movement, because eventually it'll click in your brain. You'll start making those connections and it'll click. But it's, it's something that, for me, it was like fun. It was like discovering something, it was an adventure. Little did I know. But, it was like something really cool to me. So it wasn't like a chore to me. It wasn't like I was doing something as a chore. I was doing something fun. And if it's not fun, don't do it, But if it's something that is, if you like getting into that kind of stuff and discovering things and finding stuff, then you might really enjoy doing it. But, like I said, I just wouldn't make it a chore. But once I figured out all that was in there, and like I said, I do this so often. So back to the night I was out. So then I went out another night trying to do the same thing. And I got some, but they're very difficult because, it's nearly dark by the time I went out there. So you can't see a whole lot. I can see them, very clearly. But here's what happens too, is that let's say you have one of these little, I heard a lady refer to them as Ewoks. And yes, that's very much what they look like. Little Ewoks. They're so cute. They've got like black fur and they've got these bright yellow eyes and they are adorable. And they will snuggle up to me sometimes. I'll catch them in film. But what will happen is I will see that Ewok. I can see that Ewok. But then when I look closer, there are all these tiny little beings all over it. on top of it, like all around. It's that vortex stuff again. And one gal who was here, I forget who it was, but somebody had written a comment that that she had been photographing these beings for years. And one of the things that she noticed is that they're never ending. Like let's say you take a picture of an Ewok who's this big. And on that Ewok, there will be another little being this big. And then you look on that being and there's one this big. And it just never ends. And I forget what that's called. It actually has a mathematical principle behind it. But I really only see that in the vortex energy. I don't see that in like their everyday energy. It's just when it's that vortex. And even sometimes in my room, I'll be looking at the guys in there and their hair will be just blowing around. I had a candle lit last night. My candle was flickering back and forth. It was blowing around like there was a wind on the candle. I wasn't near the wind. There was no wind in my room. I had no heat, no air conditioning turned on. It didn't make any sense, right? So, and I caught a couple of orbs one night, but it's really neat to understand these differences so that it'll make it a little bit easier, hopefully, with, identifying and just figuring out what's going on. I really figured I need to learn how to channel or something because I can't understand anything. And if I feel like if I just knew some basic stuff, like how to keep you safe, you know, or okay, maybe you don't want me to try to keep you safe. Tell me that, you know, just so I stop trying to meddle in stuff that I'm probably not supposed to be meddling in. But like I said, I appreciate it whenever you guys send prayers for them, or, you know, healing light, happy thoughts. I really and truly do appreciate that, because sometimes, I mean, they just look so bad. And, you know, for anybody who's new here, I watched one of the guardians pass, and it was the most traumatic thing I think I've ever gone through. I'm not a crier, but I sobbed for about 2-3 days straight. I mean, it was horrific. It was something I never, ever, ever want to see again. It broke me. I mean, it just gutted me. So I've become very attached to them and very protective of them. But it's hard to protect them when I can't see who the bad guys are. And I definitely don't want to send the good guys. You know, I don't even know if you can do that. It'd be nice to know that I couldn't do that by accident, you know. So again, if I could hear what they were saying, understand what they were saying, then I would know. Okay, guys. I love you. I'm going to get those pictures out pretty soon, just for funsies, so you can see them. I did a bunch of work on one of them the other day, and none of it saved. As I was saving it, the iPad said, unable to save it this time. Please try again later. It's a good thing I'm not a throwing woman, because you know, I think some people would have thrown that thing across the room. Is that bad? Okay, again, I love you, and I'll see you soon. Bye.